Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. In this video, I'm going to talk about enterprise mobility plus security, right? So there are two flavors of EMS. We call it as EMS in short, but it is the very essential component or essential part of Microsoft 365 ecosystem. When we have an organization, we wanted to make sure we wanted to manage devices, we wanted to protect applications and data at the same time, right? And the different capabilities of EMS, right? So what EMS, which is enterprise mobility and security, has to offer, as well as what are the different components, what are the different services it can offer. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through all of those topics as well as the features and the services that it can offer us, right? So let me open up. All right. So I'm going to go through a presentation here, and I'm going to show you how we can go ahead and do that. So let me share my screen quickly here. All right. So this is EMS, right? And what is EMS? What EMS can offer for us, right? And basis on that, we can decide, or maybe not only decide, but it is also very important for us to evaluate EMS capabilities. And in EMS, we have two different plans, which includes E3 and E5, right? So what are the E5 or E3 capabilities? How those can be used effectively, how those can help us to make sure our data systems and applications are tied with our organization-wide security and compliance requirements. At the same time, how we are going to manage identities, as well as what are the capabilities that we are going to leverage, right? So let's move ahead. Okay, so the overview of EMS is going to be what is the EMS, right? So in short, EMS is a complete suite for the organizations to provide comprehensive solution for identity access management, device, information protection, and threat protection. Not only these capabilities, but there are more than that capabilities that we can leverage across the EMS suite. And EMS is going to be the one which is going to be key as well as game changer for the organizations who are in at least small, medium, even the large scale organizations are also using these capabilities and these solutions. And many organizations are moving to the cloud, right? So it is not something they are keeping into on-premises, but they're also leveraging the cloud capabilities. And there are many organizations who are still using on-premises and cloud, and together they are making sure they are in the conjunction with on-premises and cloud. So even EMS is also capable enough handling the hybrid environments as well, right? But definitely there are some keys or maybe some key plannings that we need to happen, or we need to make sure we are managing the identities appropriately, device management, then the other capabilities like information protection, threat protection, that is also being managed accurately and appropriately when we are leveraging the EMS plan E3 or E5 when we have hybrid infrastructure, right? So uh, the identity and access management is also part of that one, which also includes in E3, E5, which has the key features including multi-factor authentication, conditional access policies, identity protection, right? And even the capabilities that it provides, which includes the identity governance as well, right? So identity governance is something which we can leverage for many, many different criterias, many different areas to improve on security as well as improve on access levels, improve on uh, internal as well as external guest access. And it is really a big game changer for organizations to make sure we are leveraging access reviews, access package, entitlement management, right? Those are the capabilities that we can leverage, and those are part of Enter ID P2 plan, right? And even P1 has some of those capabilities, but in the P1 plan that comes with Microsoft Mobility and Security E3 plan, right? And E5 plan has P2 plan. That means we can leverage both of those as we have E3 or E5 plans available for us, right? And at the end, we have capabilities like device management, information protection, and threat protection. So which includes with E3 and E plan, E3 and E5, which has Intune plan as well, right? So you might be wondering, device management is the part of EMS, then do we need to buy additional license for Intune? If you have E3 or E5, you really don't need to get additional Intune license for the same, right? Because E3 and E5 both contains the Intune plan 1 in E3 and Intune plan 2 in E5, right? That also covers all of the identity access management, device management, information protection, and threat protection capabilities. So it is going to really be helpful in that situation as well. So this way we can make sure we have appropriate licensing capabilities, features with it, and then we can leverage it for our implementations and for business perspective. So let's move to the next. All right. So on the both of those licensing plans, you can see here the screen says that EMS is a suite of tools that which I talked about, right? And this is going to be the organization's modern security capabilities, right? And it includes those features which I talked about. And we can see that the E3 has cloud, E3 and E5, both are the cloud-based identity access management solutions, as well as advanced threat protection and information protection. And E5 covers all those E3 plus E5 plans, right? And basis on that, it also be making sure that we can capture or we can use those capabilities, including advanced security management, advanced compliance, right? And this way we can use and leverage all those capabilities together. So now you might be wondering, what is EMS exactly, right? So as I talked about, EMS is a complete suite, right? So EMS has to offer a lot of capabilities for us, including identity access management, device management, information protection, threat protection. And each of those capabilities are the security measures for us, right? And by leveraging all those capabilities effectively, we can make sure the devices are managed effectively. The data is also managed effectively, and not only managed, but while the data is transitioning from within organization as well as outside the organization, we are making sure the data is safe and secure. It is not something anyone can simply uh, share the data or maybe access the data, but we can make sure the data is protected by implementing right set of policies, right set of configurations, and different scenarios or different use cases. For example, the devices we wanted to manage, and those are the devices which are managed by organizations, and how we wanted to make sure those devices are only managed and provide the access to the resources which are really critical for business, critical for team, project, or whatever it is. And basis on that, we can decide what data should flow through, whether within the organization or outside organization, and how we can classify that data as well, right? So under the information protection, we get the capabilities to see, to protect the data, right? By protecting or by deploying right set of sensitivity labels, classifying data, labeling the data, and basis on that, we can trigger the different set of policies, what action should happen, what uh, what are the different capabilities that we wanted to make sure device as well as the data itself is put on place, right? So data is not moving outside the organization, right? And under the threat protection, we have a capability to identify advanced phishing, ransomware, as well as malware capabilities that we can leverage. Also, these are the capabilities that are being used by machine learning and AI to detect as well as respond to such threats in real time, right? So basis on all of these capabilities, these are the core features as well as core capabilities of EMS, which is Enterprise Mobility and Security Suite, right? So we talked about this, but here we can see in this tier E3 tier and E5 tier, those are the different, or those are offering a range of features and capabilities for different workloads within Microsoft 365 ecosystem, which includes the Microsoft Office, Exchange, SharePoint, Teams. Earlier it was for business, but gradually it has become, or maybe the rebranded, and that was a brand new service. But in the backend, it is using still Microsoft or Sky for Business infrastructure. And E5 has also the advanced capabilities of the same, plus additional features includes advanced threat protection, cloud app security, and other advanced security features that we are going to see. So these are the features that we talked about, right? And while going through these features and services, we can see that how each of these features are really being used, how features can be utilized as expected, and how we can classify the data, how we can manage the devices, what are the different capabilities of each of these capabilities or features, and how those can be used for the organizations to protect the data, applications, user identities, devices, right? So these are the four areas where all of these features are playing the key role to protect everything together, right? So the first is identity and access management, where we would be managing and making sure all of those are managed as well as secure enough, includes identities, user accounts, groups, right? As well as applications, right? So application identities include service principals and all of those. Under device management, we have devices on different layers, which includes the any platform, includes Windows devices, Mac devices, iOS, iPad, or maybe Android devices, and all those devices are can be managed as well as fully managed, full management as well as the partial management of those devices. And under information protection, we would be classifying data, labeling that data, and protect the data, whichever is sensitive, basis on the data residency, wherever the data is stored. It includes SharePoint, OneDrive. Those are the data stores we can say within the Microsoft 365 ecosystem, but it could be Microsoft 365 backup service as well, right? So if that is not the case, we can also store the data in other cloud storage or cloud stores, includes Azure storage or any other third-party clouds. And we can also make sure the data is classified as sensitive or protect the data, right? And there are third-party solutions can be leveraged and can be used for data backup and classify data, and basis on that we can back up the data, and it's going to be really a data protection solution instead of making that data accessible, or basis on the organization needs, we can make sure that data is archived for some time, or maybe keep that data in a store where that data is not being used at all, right? And under the threat protection, we have a real-time threat protection against cyber threats as well as attacks that's going to, or that happens across the organization and environment. And that's not the case where there is no day or no minute we can say that threats are not happening, right? So every minute there are different cyber threats and attacks being happen on individual users as well as individual group of people, or maybe it's kind of a big organization, or it's going to be a big kind of spamming or phishing campaigns as well, right? So we will see each of these features one by one. So first is identity access management. All right. So it's a critical service or process, we can say that, and it helps organizations to manage as well as secure identities across the organization, which includes the users, groups, applications, right? And devices. Even device is also considered as identity for each individual account or each individual application, right? And we can leverage all its capabilities, as I said, multi-factor authentication, conditional access policies, then identity protection, identity governance, entitlement management, access reviews, access package, right? Then the catalog as well for providing right set of access to the respective group of people, be it internal or external or whosoever it is, right? So basis on all of these capabilities, and not only this, but there are many more capabilities that we can handle and manage through identity and access management, which is a part of EMS E3 and E5. The next is device management. So device management is going to be the continuous and ongoing process, right, to manage as well as secure the devices within organization, and which is going to really be helpful for organizations to effectively manage devices, as well as includes the different platforms. As I said, it could be Windows, Mac OS, iOS, iPad OS, and all other those different platforms. Either we can manage those devices fully or partially, or maybe basis on the applications and data that we are targeting to protect and make sure that data and application itself is secure. So there are different scenarios when we wanted to make sure applications and data is safe, but we really don't care about the device fully. So that is going to be a BYOD concept, or bring your own device. Instead of managing the whole device, we would be simply managing the applications and data which is residing within that application. And we are going to manage that applications by setting up right set of policies in the Intune, right? By creating app protection policies, and then create those policies and deploy those policies by targeting to those respective applications only and not the device, right? The another is going to be the device management with the full functional device capabilities, setting up right set of policies, which includes the device enrollment in Windows device platform, right? And similar can be done with the Mac devices and iOS, iPad OS, as well as Android devices as well, right? So basis on the different use case, different requirements, different capabilities, we can use the Intune management and device management capabilities to make sure we leverage the full capacity or full feature sets of EMS, right? And as soon as we have the EMS E3 or E5 license, that means we have covered, or we got covered with the Intune license, right? That means we can leverage the Intune for our device management, but definitely there are different features which are available in E3 and which are not available, or which are available in E3 and which are available in E5. So there is a difference between both of those. So there would be feature parity. Let's say E3 has some features, but E5 has all the features which are advanced level capabilities, right? But those are not there in the EMS E3. So this is something we really need to plan accordingly, plan as well as decide whether to go with the E3 plan or E5 plan basis on the business needs and requirements, right? And the next is information protection, which is a capability and feature of EMS E3 and E5, which is going to help organizations to classify, protect their data, and allows organizations to safeguard critical data assets within the organizations, which is going to help us to classify the data, apply the labels automatically, and offering the protection options basis on the data sensitivity. So if the data is sensitive and we wanted to make sure we keep that data secure enough, and we don't want that data to be handed over to anyone who really doesn't care about, or who really don't need to see and watch and maybe share internally and externally, right? So we can take the appropriate actions basis on that data and only target those devices or those users or those people who really need to access that data, and basis on access levels as well, we can provide that data accessibility. So next is threat protection. So threat protection is something we have the capability on different plans or different capabilities that we can see here. Threat protection and response, Microsoft Defender for identity, Defender for endpoints, right? So threat protection is going to help organizations to detect and respond to security threats. And it's going to provide a comprehensive security solutions for endpoints and identities as well. So endpoints includes all of those different platforms. As I said, Windows, Mac OS, iOS, iPadOS, Androids, right? So those are the different platforms which we can manage, and it is going to help us to make sure the devices as well as the applications and data is secure, right? The Defender for Identity is going to be the feature capacity of EMS suite, which provides the advanced threat protection for identities in this case, because that's the identity capability which safeguards sensitivity data and prevents unauthorized access for the critical resources across the organization. And the Defender for Endpoint is going to be the features of EMS sets or EMS suite, which really provides an advanced threat protection for the endpoints. In this case, all the device platforms that are capable enough to handle all the different sets or features. And it protects the device from malware, viruses, and threats. And it helps ensure compliance with the security policies that we are going to leverage and deploy, right? And different use cases, right? So what are those different use cases? You might be wondering why we should go with E3 or E5, right? So I have listed down few of those use cases, and not only these, but there are many use cases that we can use, or we can use EMS E3 as well as E5 capabilities. So first use case, let's say securing remote access by using E3, E5 can be used for secure remote access for the organization's resources and enabling employees to work from anywhere without compromising security, right? So this is really going to be game changing, as well as it's already making the progress, as well as it has been used across the organizations, but still there are questions. Do we really, or can we really rely on these capabilities in terms of security, in terms of compliance, and how we can make sure this is going to not compromise our identity, security, and data and applications together, right? So yeah, this way we can make sure data and everything is safe and secure. The next is data compliance and regulation. So EMS E3 and E5 can also help the organizations to comply various data compliance regulations such as GDPR, HIPAA, PCI DSS. So these are the different regulations and compliance bodies. Those are going to ask the organizations to comply with their respective regulatories, right? And regulations that they need to comply with. And it totally depends on the organizations wherever they are doing business and what industry they are in. So industry could be finance, maybe payments industry, the healthcare industry, or maybe the industry which is collecting the personal data as their business data to communicate across the organization, as well as their business entities and vendors and partners and customers, right? The next is emergency management. So this is another use case where E3 and E5 can be used for that as well, to efficiently communicate with the employees during crisis and disaster. So this means that uh, we are providing right set of security on identities, applications, data, and devices, and everything together. So whatever the communication is happening within organization as well as outside organization, that is safe and secure. And the communication could be confidential, or maybe neutral, which can be shared with anyone, or maybe private or public, right? So basis on all of that, we can leverage these capabilities and can be used for the same. Healthcare use case is also similar, where E3 and E5 can help the organizations to improve their organization data as well as regulations or regulatories compliance, as I said in the second topic here, which is HIPAA, right? So HIPAA is a regulation for healthcare systems or healthcare organizations that they are dealing in or dealing with, and they really need to comply with that particular regulations and compliance and regulatory bodies. And then the last is education use case. EMS E3 can help, E3 and E5 can help organizations which are in education or educational institutions industry to provide as well as improve the students' collaboration, communication, and security. right? So now uh, there might be use case or ask or questions why education industry needs to be regularized, right? Or why they need to be compliant on a respective organization or respective body, right? Because education is something that can be considered as good as well as bad, not bad, but depends on the different layers, right? What kind of education that education institution is providing, right? Basis on that, um, we can protect the data, user identities, systems, and devices and applications, everything together. So even this use case is also valid and very important for organizations to keep their data and apps secure. So first is remote secure access, right? We talked about this one, wherein we can allow people to access data, devices, and applications remotely from anywhere, and they can work from any locations without any uh, security as well as data compromising, right? The next is data compliance, as we talked about the EMS E3, E5 capabilities, which can help organizations to regularize their data, their industry, and they can rely on these capabilities, including Azure Information Protection, and also they can leverage the cloud app security capabilities along with the EMS providers or EMS capabilities that protects the cloud applications from malicious attacks and data breaches, right? And the emergency contacts or emergency management. So for this use case, we can leverage E3, E5 to manage the data as well as disaster recovery, and we have the data safe and secure from the cyber attacks, as well as we have capabilities to maybe recover the data and restore back and bring the operations back from such situations when the device, not device, but the whole organization was down due to cyber attacks as well as the cyber threats. And then the healthcare use case, which really needs to protect the patient's data as well as the personal information, right? And healthcare organizations has to protect their data, applications, business systems, and everything together, and they have to also comply with HIPAA regulatories, right? And then they can leverage the Microsoft capabilities or Microsoft 365 or EMS capabilities to protect their identities, cloud applications, data, and everything together. And this is going to really be helpful for them as well. And the education one, as I said, in the education, we have to protect the data as well as identities, application systems, and how this can be used for the organizations to comply with the regulations as well, which is FAIRPA, right? So FAIRPA is the regulation for education industry, and that is the one of the regulation industry or regulation or regulator who ask organizations who are in the education industry, they need to comply with all of that, everything, right? And towards end of this presentation or end of this video, as I talked about all of these points, and you might have gone or you might have any questions, anything that you would like to ask, you can put them in the comment section below. And yeah, this was all about EMS E3, EMS E5, and I have gone through the different topics, different feature sets, and different use cases, right? So yeah, that is all for this video. Hope you will like it. If you like it, please do like, share, and subscribe with your friends, colleagues, and whoever needs to see it. And yeah, thanks for watching. Bye for now.